The Commonwealth Games, British Empire and Commonwealth Games, and British Commonwealth Games, is an international, multi-sport event involving athletes from the Commonwealth of Nations. The event was first held in 1930 and has taken place every 4 years ever since. The Games are described as the third largest multi-sport event in the world, after the Olympic Games and the Asian Games. The Games are overseen by the Commonwealth Games Federation, which also controls the sporting program and selects the host cities. A host city is selected for each edition and 18 cities in 7 countries have hosted the event. Apart from many Olympic sports, the Games also include some sports that are played mainly in Commonwealth countries, such as lawn bowls, and netball. Only 6 teams have attended every Commonwealth Games: Australia, Canada, England, New Zealand, Scotland, and Wales. Australia has been the highest achieving team for 12 games, England for 6, and Canada for 1. Although there are 53 members of the Commonwealth of Nations, 70 teams participate in the Commonwealth Games as a number of British overseas territories, Crown dependencies, and island states compete under their own flag. The 4 home nations of the United Kingdom are England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland also send separate teams. History of the Games. A fishing competition bringing together the members of the British Empire was first proposed by the John Astley Cooper in 1891, when he wrote an article in the Times suggesting a pan-Britannic pan-Anglican contest and festival every 4 years as a means of increasing goodwill and good understanding of the British Empire. The John Astley Cooper committees worldwide helped Pierre de Coubertin to get his International Olympic Games off the ground fast. In 1911, the Festival of the Empire was held at the Crystal Palace in London to celebrate the coronation of King George V. As part of the festival, an Inter-Empire Championships was held in which teams from Australia, Canada, South Africa, and the United Kingdom competed in events such as boxing, wrestling, swimming, and athletics. In 1928, Melville Marks Robinson of Canada was asked to organise the first British Empire Games. These were held in 1930, in Hamilton, Ontario, and women competed in the swimming events only. From 1934, women also competed in some athletics events. The first Commonwealth Paraplegic Games were held alongside the Commonwealth Games from 1962 to 1974. Athletes with a disability were then first included in exhibition events at the 1994 Commonwealth Games in Victoria, British Columbia, and, at the 2002 Commonwealth Games, they were included as full members of their national teams, making them the first fully inclusive international multi-sport games. This meant that results were included in the medal count. The Empire Games flag was donated in 1931 by the British Empire Games Association of Canada. The year and location of subsequent games were added until the 1950 Games. The name of the event was changed to the British Empire and Commonwealth Games and the flag was retired as a result. Editions of the Games. The first edition of the event was the 1930 British Empire Games in which 11 nations participated. The quadrennial schedule of the Games was interrupted by the Second World War and the 1942 Games and the 1946 Games were abandoned. The Games were revived in 1950 and underwent a name change 4 years later with the first British Empire and Commonwealth Games in 1954. Over 1,000 athletes participated in the 1958 Games as over 30 teams took part for the first time. The Edmonton event marked a new high as almost 1,500 athletes from 46 countries took part. Nigeria was the first country to boycott the Commonwealth Games in 1978 in protest over New Zealand's sporting contacts with South Africa. Participation at the 1986 Games was affected by a boycott by 32 African and Caribbean nations in protest to British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher's refusal to condemn sporting contacts of apartheid-era South Africa in 1985, but the Games rebounded and continued to grow thereafter. The 1998 Commonwealth Games in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia saw the sporting program grow from 10 to 15 sports as team sports were allowed for the first time. Participation also reached new levels as over 3,500 athletes represented 70 teams at the event. At the Games in Melbourne in 2006, over 4,000 athletes took part in sporting competitions. The three nations to have hosted the Games the most number of times are Australia, Canada and New Zealand. Furthermore, 6 editions have taken place, or will take place, in the countries within the United Kingdom, twice in Asia and only once in the Caribbean. Only 2 cities have held the Games on multiple occasions, Auckland and Edinburgh. Notes: 1 includes 3 team sports, 2 includes 4 team sports, 3 includes 3 team sports, 4 includes 3 team sports. Total Commonwealth Games by country. 1911 Inter-Empire Championships held in London. Approved sports. There are a total of 21 sports and a further 7 para-sports which are approved by the Commonwealth Games Federation. They are categorized into 3 types. Core sports must be included on each program. A number of optional sports may be picked by the host nation, which may include some team sports such as basketball. Recognized sports are sports which have been approved by the CGF but which are deemed to need expansion. Host nations may not pick these sports for their program until the CGF's requirements are fulfilled. Participation: only 6 teams have attended every Commonwealth Games: Australia, Canada, England, New Zealand, Scotland and Wales. Australia has been the highest scoring team for 11 games, England for 7 and Canada for 1. Notes: Aden later joined South Arabia in 1963 and departed the Commonwealth in 1968. Anguilla was completely separated from St Christopher Nevis Anguilla in 1980 and remaining St Kitts and Nevis became independent from the United Kingdom in 1983. British Guiana was renamed Guyana in 1966. British Honduras was renamed Belize in 1973. Ceylon was renamed Sri Lanka in 1972. Fiji was suspended from the Commonwealth and Games in 2009. Gambia withdrew from the Commonwealth in 2013. Gold Coast was renamed Ghana in 1957. Including neighboring islands. Hong Kong was never a Commonwealth member but was a territory of a Commonwealth country. It ceased to be in the Commonwealth when the territory was handed over to China in 1997. Ireland was represented as a team from the whole of the island in 1930, and from both parts, the Irish Free State and Northern Ireland in 1934. The Irish Free State was renamed Ireland in 1937, was formally excluded from the Commonwealth when it declared that it was a republic on April 18, 1949. Contemporary illustrations show green flag used for the Irish team. Malawi, Zambia and Zimbabwe competed from 1958 to Euro 1962 as part of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Malaya, North Borneo, Sarawak and Singapore federated as Malaysia in 1963. Singapore left the federation in 1965. Newfoundland joined Canada in 1949. The Ulster banner was the flag of the former government of Northern Ireland only between 1953 and 1972, but the flag has been regarded as flag of Northern Ireland since 1924 among Unionists and Loyalists. In the Commonwealth Games, it is used also as flag of Northern Ireland. Southern Rhodesia and Northern Rhodesia federated with Nyasaland in 1953 as Rhodesia and Nyasaland, which dissolved at the end of 1963. Southern Rhodesia and Northern Rhodesia competed separately in 1954. Under the name of St Helena in the Commonwealth Games. Ascension Island and Tristan da Cunha were dependencies of St Helena, so the territory was officially called St Helena and dependencies until 2009. St Helena, Ascension Island and Tristan da Cunha became equal parts of St Helena, Ascension and Tristan da Cunha in 2009. Western Samoa was renamed Samoa in 1997. Zanzibar and Tanganyika federated to form Tanzania in 1964. Zimbabwe withdrew from the Commonwealth in 2003. Commonwealth nations disputed territory is yet to send teams. Very few Commonwealth dependencies and nations have yet to take part. Ascension Island and Tristan da Cunha, former dependencies of St Helena and current parts of the British Overseas Territory of St Helena, Ascension and Tristan da Cunha, has never formed their own teams independent from the St Helena team. Other states, Territories and territorial autonomies with native populations within the Commonwealth that may be eligible include Christmas Island and the Cocos Islands, Nevis, Rodrigues, and Zanzibar. Cornwall, represented by the Cornwall Commonwealth Games Association, sent a bid for participation in the 2006 Commonwealth Games. However, their application was rejected by the CGF, who stated that the constitutional status of Cornwall was not an issue that should be resolved through this medium. However, in 2010, the CCGA sought to launch a legal challenge to the decision of the CGF, stating that the Cornish bid of 2006 fulfilled the entire criterion of the CGF, and by rejecting the bid, the CGF had violated their own code, failing to follow their own criteria for participation. The Cornwall team will therefore seek competition in the 2014 Games. The British Indian Ocean Territory currently has no permanent population, although there is a sizable population who were born in the BIOT but currently live in Mauritius and the United Kingdom and so would be eligible to compete on birth criteria. Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus has made applications to the CGF to send teams. South Sudan was likely to compete at the 2014 Commonwealth Games. It is also conceivable that any future members of the Commonwealth such as applicants may participate in future games. The Colony of Aden and Federation of South Arabia, precursors to modern Yemen, participated before in 1962 and in 1966. Sudan was an Anglo-Egyptian protectorate until independence in 1956. The Pitcairn Islands' tiny population would appear to prevent this British overseas territory from competing. Tokile was expected to take part in the 2010 Games in Delhi but did not do so. The lack of a permanent population would seem to prevent the British overseas territories of South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands and British Antarctic Territory, the New Zealand Territory of Ross Dependency and the Australian External Territories of Australian Antarctic Territory, Ashmore and Cartier Islands, Coral Sea Islands and Heard Island and McDonald Islands from competing. Notable competitors: lawn bowler Willie Wood from Scotland is the first competitor to have competed in 7 Commonwealth Games, from 1974 to 2002, a record equalled in 2014 by Ironman cyclist, Andrew Roche. Also, Greg Yalovic, a sports shooter from New Zealand, has won 12 medals in 7 games from 1986 to 2010. Norwegian weightlifter Marcus Stephen won 12 medals at the Games between 1990 and 2002, of which 7 gold, and was elected president of Nauru in 2007. His performance has helped place Nauru in 19th place on the all-time Commonwealth Games medal table. See also, all-time medal tally of Commonwealth Games, All Africa Games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Mountain and Ultra-Distance Running Championships, Indian Empire Games, Jeux de la Francophonie, Kingdom Games, Lusophony Games, Mediterranean Games, Olympic Games, Pan American Games, Universiade, World Games. References. External links: Commonwealth Games official website, statistics, 2014 Commonwealth Games Glasgow, flags and emblems of the Commonwealth Games. Evolution of the emblems of the Games.